All right, hey YouTube. This is going to be part 2 of 2. Um, the 3 patterns that we find in religion, and hopefully I can finish this out and our foundation for understanding religion will be laid. All right, so we already went over like the definition of religion, what religion is, the 8 key characteristics of religion. Okay, and now we're into the 3 patterns among religion. The first pattern was focus of beliefs and practices. The second pattern is views of world and life. And we got all the way up to time. I think, how many bullet points do we have? We got 7 bullet points. Okay, so time is our 4th one. All right, so we finished time. So now we're going to move on into human purpose. Again, this is the views of the world and life in the religion. This is the second pattern that we find in religion. All right, human purpose. What is the purpose for humans? Okay, what is our purpose? Okay, now in some religions, the purpose is human beings are part of a great divine plan. All right, every person is unique. All right, that they have, but each, well, let me say, see, although each person is unique, individual meaning comes also from the cosmic plan. All right, so again, in some religions there's a great cosmic plan, okay, as far as the purpose for humans. Okay, what is our purpose in this religion? What does this religion tell us about our purpose as human beings? Okay, it's a divine cosmic plan in this particular religion. All right, that may be the focus. You're unique as an individual, but at the same time you have an individual meaning. Okay, that's part of a cosmic plan. That's part of this cosmic plan. The cosmic plan may be viewed as, okay, a struggle between forces of good and evil. Okay, with human beings at the center of the stage and the forces of good and evil at work within them. So we hear a lot of talk about, like spiritual warfare. Okay, that type of thing. All right, that comes from some particular religions. All right, and what is the what is the human's purpose in that? Okay, humans play a central role in this battle between good and evil, in this spiritual battle. All right, and the force of good and evil depends on you and your individual meaning. Will determine whether it's a force of good or a force of evil that is working within the individual. Human actions are so important, okay, in this religion that teaches this force of good and evil, this struggle between good and evil. All right, that your actions, the human actions, must be guided by a prescribed moral code. Okay, that must be internalized by the individual. Okay, what is the prescribed moral code? The dogma, the rights and wrongs of that religion. What that religion teaches you is good or bad, right and wrong, good, evil, so on and so forth. Okay, so the moral code guides you. Okay, is your guiding you, your guiding force in this struggle, in this cosmic plan, that this spiritual battle, this spiritual warfare that particular religion teaches. Not all religions teach that. All right. We find this view significant in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These are what we would call the religions of the West, though they did not originate in the West. Okay, but these religions are what has originated in the West. So we find that kind of talk in our Western world. Okay, really in the West, that's part of the culture. Okay, I remember Dr. Laila Africa speaking about Western culture and saying that it's just a culture of warfare. Okay, it's always a battle. Okay, and it is. Okay, if we pay attention to our Western world, remember, we're not talking about a particular location on the map, okay, but a culture. Okay, and we find in Western culture, everything is just war, battle all the time, head to head, toe to toe, all the time. Okay, that is a part of the culture, and that whole idea of that spiritual warfare, struggle between good and evil, we find in the Western world, we find in the Western culture. It is so pervasive in our culture that sometimes we may not even realize and recognize that it is may not be a part of other cultures. We just may assume that it is a part of, that is just a worldwide thing. It's just natural. It's just how it is. No, it is natural to your culture. Okay, it is natural to that particular culture. And when I say natural, I mean it is so ingrained in the society. Okay, you're just born in it. The mindset. Okay, it's in everything. Okay, the literature, the art, um, economics, health, so on and so forth. Everything that makes up a culture. Okay, that warfare is a part of it. Right. Let's continue on. In contrast, other religions don't see human life in, these dramatic terms. You understand what I'm saying? Like you're the center. You're so important. You understand what I'm saying? That we are so important, that we are such a part of this great cosmic battle. You understand what I'm saying? And how we live individually is going to determine how that particular battle goes. No, in some religions, nah, we don't have that. Okay, the individual is only part of larger realities, and much larger realities. In Taoism, for example, Shinto, a human being is a small part of the natural. We're just a part of it. Okay, you don't have anything to do necessarily in terms with, some great cosmic plan and how, things are going to go according to this great cosmic plan. Your individual self, you're not that. We are, human beings may not be viewed as that important to be the center, okay, of what will take place. All right, universally in the universe. All right, just a small part. Just a small part, okay, of the natural universe. In Confucianism, for example, an individual is part of family and society. We will get into Confucianism. We're going to go over each of these religions, all right? Some religions place less emphasis on individual rights. Okay, that's huge in Western culture. Our rights are individual rights. We know that. All right. Movements have been made, of course, in our history in the Western world about our individual rights. However, some religions / culture, all right, less emphasis is placed on individual rights and more on how the individual maintains harmony with the whole. Not you and your individual rights and who you are individually and your uniqueness, so on and so forth. No, you are part of you are just a small part of the natural universe. All right. How can you maintain harmony with that universe, not be in this constant battle and warfare with it? Okay. These things that we may look at as good and evil, these forces. Remember, we talked about nature and how some religions, how can I say, may look at nature as a not so good thing. Okay. Let me see. Nature. And when I say nature, I don't necessarily just mean, the things of nature, like the trees and the birds and the animals, the rivers, the lakes, the oceans, and all of that type of thing. No, nature. What is our nature as human beings? Okay, those things that are natural to us, that just come naturally to us. These things in some religions that we talked about have to be tamed, okay, or have to be done away with, okay, and made to be for you to become something totally different. So even nature, what is natural for you to do as a human being? What is your nature? Okay, what is our nature as human beings? Not something to be done away with or modified, so on and so forth. Okay, some religions, there's a balance. Okay, yeah, we do, we live in our nature and who we are as human beings, what we naturally do, but we might have to modify some of those things, where some religions say no, just do away with it completely. Okay, I guess I would dare say that Christianity could be looked at as that. Islam, okay, could be looked at as that. Of course, I would say probably Judaism. Okay, I might be wrong about Judaism. I have to think about it for a second, but definitely Christianity and Islam. Okay, our nature, how do we view it? Sin. It's sin. It's wrong. Okay, it needs to be done away with. Okay, less of us, more of God, that type of thing. All right, so understand that. Okay, when we talk about nature, all right. So how do we maintain, in some religions, once again, going back, how do we as individuals or as human beings, how do we maintain harmony with the whole? Because remember, you're just a small part of a whole. Okay, it's not for you to control things and subdue it, as human beings, okay, which we may feel in some religions according to some cosmic plan. Okay. Actions are not guided by an internalized moral system, okay, but by society, tradition, and a sense of mutual obligation. No one has to give you a prescribed moral code, in other words, for you to teach you how to be a human being, okay, according to this particular religion or this particular faith. In other words, okay, this prescribed moral code that I just mentioned, that has to be internalized. All right. For you to live in your purpose as a human being, okay? Right. There is, for some religions, there is no need for that. You just be, okay, in your humanity. All right. But also, your actions are guided by society, tradition, how you are in harmony with the whole. Once again, a sense of mutual obligation, what you do for another, what you want done for you, you do for others, that type of thing. All right. The sixth bullet point here under patterns, the second pattern, okay, of religion, views of the world and life, is words and scripture. Now, in some religions, the sacred is found where? In the written word and the spoken word. Okay. For those religions that use writing, create scriptures, reading, copying, and using sacred words, music, or art are important. Okay. We see the importance of words in indigenous religions, but these traditions are passed on orally. Now, what would we say for the West? They are written. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, these things are written. Right? The sacred word is written. Okay, like the Bible. Okay, what do they say? It is what's some, I've heard some terms like God breathed, or whatever. Okay, damn, I can't think of the word. It's very common. Okay, I just can't think of it right now, that I've heard often. But we have holy books, our sacred words, and those religions are written. Other religions, such as Taoism, Zen Buddhism, okay, they show a mistrust of words. Okay, so they value silence and wordless meditation. This is where you will find many of your monks, like your Buddhist monks, for example. Silence, meditation, going within. All right. Okay, now, although Zen and Taoism utilize language in their practices and have produced significant literature, okay, they have produced significant literature, each of these religions find language limited, okay, in expressing the richness or totality of reality. Obviously, some words that we may have in one culture, we may not have in another. Because why? Because that thing simply does not exist in that culture. It simply just doesn't exist. So why would there be a word for something that doesn't exist? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so there's an understanding of that. So language is limiting. Okay, language, words cannot express the totality of reality. Like, for example, like I said before, when we talk about Taoism, we'll get to that. But the Tao, for example, if it can be described, if you can give it a description, then it's not the Tao. Okay, because there are not enough words. There are no words to describe the power or the reality of the Tao. All right. There are times when you may have felt something or thought something and said to yourself, I really don't have the words to say what I'm really thinking or what I'm really feeling. Okay. There are no words that you can find that would fit. That is an example of that. All right. But understand, once again, and I want to emphasize this because I saw it in my class and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't understand it. How, sometimes I feel like Western culture, we can be so arrogant in this culture that, and we think that this is the standard, like, for the world. This is the standard for all cultures to be, compared by this culture and this culture alone? Absolutely not. Okay, just the same with religion. How some people will, from their particular viewpoint or whatever their religion is or their understanding, they look at their religion as the standard for what religion should or should not be. Okay, that's and I'm going to say it's ridiculous. Okay, we have to open our minds and our understanding. Okay, I'm not telling you that you got to go out there and study every religion and all of that kind of thing, but understand that your whatever is not the standard for what it should be for the world. Absolutely not. Okay, we are finite beings. Okay, language is limited. Like I was saying, I couldn't understand like how I had a student, he could not understand how what we may have in our culture that may simply not exist in another culture and have never existed in that culture, and it's just not a part of their reality and never has been, how they couldn't have words for certain things that we have in our culture. Why would they? You have to understand language, culture, how these things come about. Why would there be? Okay, but how could there be, or why would there be? All right, it doesn't exist. It never has existed. It's not a part of their reality. All right, the next bullet point, 7, exclusiveness and inclusiveness. This is the last in the bullet points of patterns, the second pattern of religions' views of the world and life. Some religions emphasize that the sacred is distinct from the world. Okay. The God or the sacred creator, whatever you call it, is distinct from the world, and that order must be imposed. Okay, or this prescribed moral code, but order must be imposed by separating good and bad, true from false. Okay, but what is good? What is bad? What is true and what is false? Okay. In that view, to share in sacredness means separation. So if the sacred must be, if the sacred is distinct from the world, okay, but there have to be some order, okay, order brought to it, order out of chaos. How do you, establish this order? You tell them what's good, and you tell the folks what's bad, and you separate the good from the bad. This is how we share in, the sacred. Okay, separation. Now, for example, withdrawal from certain foods, places, people, practices, or beliefs. Okay, that's a separation. Certain foods in a particular religion may be looked at as bad. Okay, pork, for example, pig. Don't eat pig in Judaism. Okay, in Islam. Okay, places. Okay, we find that this is sometimes when we get into the dogma here of religion. You can't go there. You can't, be a part of that. All right, it goes against your moral code. It's bad. Okay, and there's a reason here for why these things have been established as good and bad, not just some random pickings. Okay, well, we just gonna say that's good, we just gonna say that's bad. No, there is a reason why those things are viewed and considered good and bad according to the particular religion. All right, we'll get it more into that. People, even people. Okay, can't go hang out with that one. Can't be, exist with that one. Okay, or that particular group. Okay, that particular group or that particular religion, those who are part of that particular religion. Our religion says different. Our religion says they worship different, they believe different, so it can be looked at and viewed as bad, looked down upon. It is problematic. Okay, it is not going to, if you go confer and be a part of that or eat that or so on and so forth, and go with those people, then it is going to keep it, that is viewed as bad in this particular religion, then it is going to keep you from sharing it, with the sacred and experiencing the sacred. Okay, the sacred being God. Practices or beliefs. Okay, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now, with those religions that feel that way, those are exclusive. We call those religions exclusive. Okay, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are among the religions that have been generally exclusive. Okay, making it impossible to belong to more than one religion at the same time. All right, let's get into it here. Okay, have an understanding. Okay, in those religions, okay, I can't say definitely. I'm not talking about your personal feelings. I am not talking about what your particular church teaches. I'm talking about the religion. Okay, and just because you may go to a particular church does not mean, well, my church say we can do this, that, and other. We are not talking about your particular church. We are talking about the religion itself. Okay, because we all have these individual places that we go to as far as faith is concerned, where the pastor or the religious leader of that temple, that church, or whatever the case may be, may have some modifications. Okay, yes, our religion teaches against this, but here at this particular location, we find that it's okay to but just because they do at that particular location does not mean that they have altered what the religion itself teaches. Okay? All right. Christianity, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are exclusive religions. You cannot, according to the dogma and the teachings of these particular religions, you cannot, I'm not talking about your individual, how you feel about it and what you do because of what you think and what you believe. And I'm not saying you're wrong. You do whatever you want to do. I'm teaching religion. Okay? I am teaching religion, not your individual thought process. Okay? Or what you feel. That's not it. Okay? Just like anywhere you go, there are, like again, prescribed set of this is what Christianity is. This is what Judaism is. This is what Islam is. This is what Hinduism, Buddhism, so on and so forth is. Okay. Okay. Right. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Do whatever you want to do. As far as I'm concerned, I could care less. Okay. I'm teaching religion. Okay. So let's have an understanding. According to, as you understand the teachings of these faiths, the teaching of the faith, okay, the history of it, the origin of it, and the teachings of it in Christianity, definitely in Islam, you cannot be a Christian and a Muslim. They are exclusive. You cannot be a Christian and a Buddhist. You cannot be a Christian and a Hindu. Okay. You cannot be, Muslim and again, so on and so forth. Okay. Same with Judaism. According to the teachings of those faiths. I'll give you a quick example. For example, there was a article that I saw on Facebook. This was years ago. Okay. There was what was he? He was the president of a seminary, which is a Christian, theological institution. It's a Christian institution. He was a Christian. And he basically, his article in so many words said, Christians ought not be doing yoga. Okay. Oh, well, there was just a big long thread and uproar about that. Okay. Well, he was absolutely correct according to the teaching of Christianity. And when we understand what yoga is now, sometimes, like I was talking to one person about it, she was like, well, I'm a Christian, I practice yoga, this, that, and other. Okay. But according to Christianity and the teachings of Christianity and what yoga actually is, they go against one another. Okay. Christianity teaches against that. Why? Yoga is supposed to be, okay, and we'll get more into it, okay, one's connection to the divine, not just an exercise. How one not connecting to the divine so much so as one becoming one with the divine. In Christianity, you cannot do that. That is not the teachings of Christianity. Becoming one with the divine. I'm not talking about your personal beliefs and ideas now, okay? And I'm not talking about what I personally believe. And about to get a cramp in my foot. What I personally believe and think. No, I'm telling you about the teachings of these faiths. What the faith teaches, what the religion teaches. Okay, why? Okay, because a human being cannot be, okay, according to Christianity, okay, come one with God. Now, the only problem I have with that is, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, okay? For all the tampering and whatnot that was done with the Bible, okay, and the Bible is used as a holy book for Christians, okay, Old Testament and New Testament. You had these scriptures, you understand what I'm saying? One in Psalms, which is the Old Testament, and one in what is it? I believe it's Matthew. I'm not quite sure right now, where Jesus said, and it's in Psalms 82:6, ye are gods. Okay, so I don't, it's like, well, I don't know why they, with all the tampering and whatnot that was done to the book, okay, to the final canon, after they took out however many books they wanted to take out, and probably and possibly changed some things and probably altered some things, because you cannot translate. We're going to get into language in a minute. You cannot translate, I might have skipped that part, from one language to another perfectly. It's impossible to do, okay? Transliteration is at best is what you're going to get. Okay, because again, we are talking about culture and other things that go into play, all right? So it's like, well, why did they take that out? You understand what I'm saying? What did they want us to do with that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, but nevertheless, all right, but you don't really hear them talk about that too much. I have not seen anything in any kind of, the tenets of Christianity that speak to that at all. Okay, but once again, okay, and that's the teaching of Christianity. I'm not talking about the teachings of Jesus. Okay, I'm talking about that. They ain't got nothing to do necessarily with the religion of Christianity. It really doesn't. Okay, maybe it should. But not necessarily. And I ain't bashing Christianity either, so please don't look at it that way, because I don't have no problem. I'm not here to bash any of these religions, okay, and say they're wrong and all of that kind of thing, okay, because whether we like it or not, human beings are the ones that put these things together, and we are human beings. Okay, and again, whether we get rid of it or not, or this one and all the rest of them, human beings are going to create some more. Human beings have already created a whole bunch more. Okay, all right. That's when we get into what we may call our quasi-religions, which is in my other book, and maybe I will try to find some time to talk about that in between these things here. Okay, but nevertheless, so let's move on. So understand that these religions are exclusive. You can't be in Christianity and Islam and Judaism. You can't be that and that. Okay, I believe that's the teaching for Judaism as well. Okay, but definitely Christianity and Islam, all right? But let's keep on going. Okay, now in contrast, other religions have stressed inclusiveness, okay? Frequently, such religions have emphasized social harmony, the inadequacy of language, once again, like we just talked about that, okay? They understand the inadequacy of language. All right. For those of you who speak other languages, okay, and proficiently and well, you understand that. All right. Or the relativity of the truth. Okay. What may be true for you? It's almost like sometimes I say, what did ancient Israel, okay, have to do with modern day America? What? Okay. So the relativity of the truth, what might have been true for a particular region, a group of people in a particular region of the world at a particular time, however many thousands of years ago, so on and so forth, may have been different even for another group on the other side of the earth or the other side of the world, or hey, maybe not even that far, okay, from them, based off of their particular worldview. Okay, their culture was shaped and formed, all right, by the world around them, what was best for them, okay, to survive and to thrive, okay, in that world, all right? So what may have been true for one group may not have been true for another. How dare we impose? How dare someone impose their particular, what they believe to be true for them from wherever they're coming from on someone else, okay? Proselytizing, for example. Okay, so these relativity of the truth, and they have accepted beliefs in many deities. Okay, so there is an understanding here. So that their inclusiveness has led them to admit many types of beliefs and practices into their religion. Okay, to the point that it is possible for an individual for an individual to belong to several religions. Okay, so such as Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism simultaneously. So, for example, you can be a Buddhist and a Christian. Now, we're coming from the inclusiveness, those religions that are inclusive. Buddhism, Okay, it's open and understanding of what did I just said? Belief in many deities, the adequacy of language, relativity of the truth. Okay, and also we need to harmonize. How are we coming together as one? How are we in harmony with with one another and the whole? Okay, so yes, you can be a part of this particular religion, maybe like Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, so on and so forth, and you can be both. Okay. But you can't do that. Like I said, you can be a Buddhist and a Christian, but from the Christian perspective, the perspectives of the teachings of Christianity, you can't be no Christian and no Buddhist. But from the perspective of the teachings of Buddhism, for example, you can be a Buddhist and a Christian. Okay, understand? Okay. Now, this inclusiveness has led to misunderstanding at times, as in the case of a Christian missionary having converted a Japanese follower, only to find the new convert still visiting a Shinto shrine. Why he gonna stop? Shit, that's his culture. That's who he is. Okay. I remember. I hope I get this right because it's been so long. Okay. Long. I'm 49. I was in my 30s when I saw this. Okay, there was a video that I saw on YouTube about a Christian missionary, and he found, I can't remember where he went, but it was some remote place, I believe in South Africa, to do the proselytizing and shit. Okay, well, the people there really weren't interested in what he was talking about. Okay, they didn't want it. Okay, they felt like, we fine. You understand what I'm saying? We haven't done anything wrong. All of this sin and all that stuff you talk about, we haven't done any of that. We just live. This is what he said that they said to him. We just live. Okay. Well, he says to them, he tries to, and the video was by the missionary himself. He said that he was so dead set on trying to, sway them, okay, because that's the point of proselytizing, okay, that he talked about what led him to the Christian faith, which was, I think he said someone in his family had committed suicide. Okay, well, hell, that's like a damn epidemic in the West. Well, when he told them people that, they laughed at him. Okay, now I can't remember where this was. It was very remote. I think it was South America. Okay, a very remote place. Okay, a place where they hadn't really been, indoctrinated or touched by any, Western influence, and they laughed. So he was very offended. Like, why are you laughing? And they were like, kill yourself. We don't kill ourselves. Like, why would a person do that? You understand what I'm saying? This is how they looked at it. Like, no, here, of course, we wouldn't laugh. You know what I'm saying? That's a serious situation. Okay, that a person would even think to do that. Okay, that's how we view it. That's how we look at it. Not to them. To them, it was kind of laughable because they were like, we don't do that. What are you talking about? Okay, we don't need to be redeemed to anything. We just live. Okay. So then he said, okay, he would try something else. There was he was going to try to, what he did was he had the Bible, somehow, one of the books in the Bible converted, okay, the language, converted over to whatever their language was. I can't remember the exact location, but it was in the Bible in the New Testament. I think where King Herod, didn't he chop someone's head off? Okay, I can't remember everything exact. Okay, been a lot of years since I've known all them stories. Okay, but so and this was the time of tape recording. Okay, so they're playing a recording and they were laughing and they're playing it. Oh, he didn't do it. He was able to find someone to do it and they sent it. So they kept playing it over and over again. Okay, and the people was laughing. You know what I'm saying? And he asked them why they're laughing. It was like he chopped his head off. To them, it was comedy. You understand what I'm saying? It was pure comedy. Okay. He eventually gave up. They told me, hey, look, we don't want, you can come over here with all that if you want to. We don't want that. We don't have no problems. We don't kill ourselves. We ain't killing each other. We just live. Day to day, we just live and we fine. We don't need to be, your redemption and all of that type of thing. Not saying that they didn't believe in God or anything, Okay. No, they didn't have some kind of religion that they practiced. Okay. This man, he looked, because he said it was the most peaceful community he had ever experienced. He stayed. He ended up staying with them, forsaking his faith. I ain't telling y'all do what you want to do. That's what I'm saying. Just teaching here, okay, giving a broader perspective. He stayed with them, okay. Of course, his wife left him and divorced. We couldn't understand what he was doing, all of that kind of stuff, okay. He did try to come back, okay, living. He just couldn't, because he said that was the most peaceful place he had ever been. Okay, I mean, I think he would kind of go back and forth, visit his home and all that type of thing, but he stayed there, okay. So, okay, I'm just saying that it goes with this sentence here, okay. Christian, gonna convert the Japanese person, okay, the Japanese follower, but he converts to Christianity. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. You understand what I'm saying? Sure, but he's still going to visit his Shinto shrine. Okay, Christianity, that's a problem. Okay, from the perspective of the Shinto, it's not. All right, now I'm gonna take a quick break, get a little bite to eat, and I'll be right back. Okay, that video is so old. It was so long ago that I saw that video. I'll see if I can find it. I'll try to find it. I have no clue how I even came across that video, okay? But if I can find it, I'll post the link, all right? Now, let's get into the third pattern, okay? For those who watched my video on my carrot salad, that's what I'm eating for lunch. I remember in the video I was saying that olive oil was too strong. Actually, after it sat for a little while, it just, I guess it kind of just like marinated real good into the carrot salad. So olive oil is fine. It tastes really good, okay? Sometimes you need, like when you're cooking and everything, sometimes after the food sits for a while, how sometimes leftovers taste better than it did the day you ate it. Sometimes, all them seasonings and whatnot get down in there real good. Okay, but let's get to this third pattern, okay? Views of male and female. This is the third pattern that we find in religions, okay? The three patterns of religion, okay? Views of male and female. There are no bullet points here. We're just going to go into it. Because gender is such an intrinsic and important part of being human, religions have to say much about the roles of men and women, okay? Both on earth and in the divine spheres, okay? In the heavens, okay? Thus, views of what is male and what is female provide another basis for this comparative analysis that we're doing here, all right? Which really, I ain't trying to, compare them. It was interesting to me when I would teach this, because it was just like, compare, and I guess I looked at compare from more of a negative than a positive, and it was just like, well, I see more similarities here, than... so it's just, I'm just teaching the religions, okay? But we are going to see similarities in all of these religions, all right? Now, in many influential religions, male imagery and control seem to dominate, okay? I don't think we have to question that. We talk about patriarchy, okay? And then we find a patriarchy in these religions, so on and so forth, okay? The sacred is considered male. So God is, what do we say? He, usually when we're referring to God, all right? Now, I know that in some cases we have kind of moved past that, okay? But in general, I think in general, okay, the sacred is still considered he, all right? Now, okay, if we talk about the Bible, the scriptures say God is not a man, God is a spirit, this, that, and other, but they're still looked at as he, as male, okay? We see that all throughout the Bible too, okay? I'm just using that for an example. Okay, and full-time religious specialists or religious leaders are frequently male. We definitely have been moving away from that. Okay, where we find many more religious leaders are female, are becoming, well, I won't say are becoming female, but yeah, are becoming female, are female. All right, this may not have always been the case. Okay, there's evidence that suggests female divinities or deities once played an important role in many cultures and religions. Okay, definitely, probably since this book was written, okay, we see that as the case. Many more, I don't even want to say studies necessarily. I personally feel like with the advent of the internet, okay, and we see that, because why do I say that? Because like it opened the world up to us, okay, things that maybe we weren't in certain places weren't aware of before. Maybe it was just smaller communities that talked about certain things. Now with the internet, it's just like these things are open to everyone to see, okay? Okay, so in other words, God wasn't always viewed as male. Okay. The most significant female deity was associated with fertility and motherhood. Okay, we got Astarte, Asherah, Aphrodite, Freya, okay, which is the origin of the word Friday. We got statues of the mother goddess, sometimes with many breasts to suggest the spiritual power of the nurturing female. And that's interesting because there is a scripture, I think it's in Isaiah, okay, where they referring to God as the many-breasted one. Okay, so even though we see a lot of he, we still see even the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, when you look at the Greek, is feminine. Okay, so it is the goddess principle. Okay, which is interesting because in the Bible, if you blaspheme what's the one unpardonable sin? Blaspheming the Holy Spirit. All right. Okay. It is possible and probable. Okay, and I think we know this by now. Okay, for those of you who are interested, and it's not everybody watching this would know that. Okay, but anyway, female images of the divine were once more common, and female religious leadership played a more important role. So where did this change come about? Okay, I think we understand, and if we don't, from my understanding, God was viewed as female long before he was viewed as male. Okay. And you may say, why? Okay, when we look at some of the attributes that we give God, some of those attributes are naturally female, like nurturing, for example. Okay, again, we find in the scriptures the many-breasted one. All right, God creates, and what's on the land is food, okay, for the humans to prosper physically, okay, spiritually too, I would say. Okay, so what a woman, when she creates and brings forth life, she has food, automatic food, okay, for her child through her breasts. All right, it has been argued that male dominance in religion became more common. What was the change? Male dominance in religion became more common as the result of the growth of city-states, which needed organized defense, and so this elevated the status of men because of their fighting ability. Okay, so we see where that change came in. All right, now I'm just going to read this right here. In Israel, worship of a female deity was stamped out by prophets who preached exclusive worship of the male god Yahweh, and by kings who wanted loyalty paid to them and their offspring. We read passages like this in the Hebrew scriptures or the Old Testament. They abandoned the Lord and worshiped Baal and the Astartes. Remember, we just talked about Astarte, the female deity. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. We find that in the book of Judges, chapter 2, verses 13 and 14. The Christian New Testament contains words that sometimes have been interpreted to mean that women should not play a prominent role in worship. Okay, for example, I do not allow them to teach or to have authority over men. They must keep quiet, for Adam was created first, then Eve, and it was not Adam who was deceived, it was the woman who was deceived and broke God's law. This is in 1 Timothy chapter 2, 12 through 14. Okay, even in age of Confucianism has been distrustful of women in general and has ordinarily refused them leadership roles. In Buddhism, despite recognition in scripture that women can be enlightened, isn't that interesting? They can be enlightened, okay? In practice, the great majority of leaders have been men, okay? So these are just some examples. Nevertheless, changes, inevitable in religion as everything else, okay? And we see these changes happening, okay, in our world, okay? Changes occur. Things ain't gonna stay the same. Or what do they say? The only constant is change. All right. In some societies, as women take leadership roles in business and civic life, they are assuming spiritual roles in religion. Similar leadership roles in religion. Okay. And that's that cyclical idea. Okay. That instead of that linear thing when we looked at time, cyclical, things change. Okay. They kind of just circle back to what they were. Okay. All right. Now, I'm just going to read this real quick. Okay, I don't think I'm going to delve into it too heavily. Now, what are the various multidisciplinary approaches to the study of religion? Psychological, Okay, psychology, which means soul study in the Greek. It deals with the human mental states, emotions, and behaviors. Okay, a few areas of study include religious influences on child rearing. Okay, train them up in the way they should go. Okay, so when they are old, they will not depart from it. Human behavior. Okay, again, how should we be as humans? How are we supposed to act as humans? Self-identity, who we are, our purpose. Group dynamics, community. All right, trance states, okay, and comparative mystical experience. Trance states, maybe prayer, meditation, so on and so forth, okay, which both can take you into a state of trance. And these mystical experiences, okay, that's one multidisciplinary study. The second one is mythology. Remember, okay, the mythology of the central stories, the central myths, okay, the stories that make up the religion what it is. For example, mythology is full of recurrent images, okay, and themes found in religion, such as what? The tree of knowledge that we find in the Old Testament of the creation story, the ladder to heaven, the fountain of life, the labyrinth, the secret garden, the holy mountain, the newborn child, the suffering hero, initiation, rebirth, the cosmic battle, once again, the female spirit guide, okay, which would be the Holy Spirit, and the aged teacher of wisdom. All right. Third, philosophy, okay, Greek, which is love of wisdom, okay, philosophy. Okay, in some ways, philosophy in some ways originated from a struggle with religion, which is interesting, okay, because let's look at this. If there is not a religious studies department in the college, the religious studies discipline will fall under what? The philosophy department. Okay, when the schools that I taught at, they didn't have a religious studies department. They had a philosophy department, okay, and that's what religious studies falls under, philosophy. Now, there's a struggle maybe, okay, between what we look at as philosophy and religion, but they both ask the same questions, okay? Philosophy and religion they pose the same questions. The difference: philosophy doesn't automatically accept the answers given by any religion to the great questions. Instead, philosophy answers independently, following what? Reason, rather than a religious authority, okay, or faith, okay, just believing. Reason, okay. It tries to fit the answers into a rational, systematic whole. Now, when we talk about religion, we ain't talking about nothing rational necessarily. All right, let's just be honest and think about it. Okay, some of the most irrational things we hear, and the most irrational stories, and the most unbelievable stories, okay, from our 3D finite reality and understanding of the world is irrational. Okay, some questions philosophy asks are: does human life have any purpose? Philosophy asks that question. Religion asks that question. What's the purpose? What is our purpose as humans? Okay, is there an afterlife? Philosophy asks that question. Religion asks that question. How should we live? Same thing. Philosophy is the work of individuals. Religion is a communal experience. Okay, it is experience of community. Philosophy avoids emotion. It tries to avoid emotion, rational and reason, period, point blank. Religion, what? Nurtures the emotion, characteristic emotional experiences, once again, okay? That even confirms and affirms your faith, okay, your belief, okay, your religious belief, all right? Philosophy is carried on without ritual, okay? Not so in religion, all right? Therein it is expressed. All right. The fourth one, theology. What is theology? The study of the divine. Okay, it's the study of topics that relate to particular religious traditions. A theologian is someone who studies his or her own belief system. Period. 5, the arts. All right. The 6, anthropology, which is Greek for the what? The study of human beings. Okay, anthropology has been interested in how religions influence the ways a culture deals with issues such as family interaction, individual roles, property rights, marriage, child rearing, social hierarchies, and division of labor, the culture, basically. Okay, this aspect of the culture. The 7th bullet point, or multidisciplinary study, archaeology, which is the study of origins, Greek for the study of origins. Okay, well, you know where we come from, how this all get started. Okay, what does it explore? Archaeologists, what do they explore? The remains of earlier civilizations. Okay, to find out, what is all this? How did we get here? Okay, looking, searching, digging, reading walls, so on and so forth. Okay, uncovering artifacts and ruins of religious buildings from ancient cultures, ancient times, looking for the origin, our origins. Okay, the origin of this earth, the origin of this space, the origin of this place, the origin of us as human beings. Archaeologists, they will translate the writings that have been left when it's possible for them to do so. Okay, it ain't always easy and possible for them to do so. Okay, and what do we find? We find religious origins in those languages or those writings that they're trying to translate and study to understand. Okay, archaeology sheds light on how religions influence one another. All right, and we're going to see that, okay, as we continue on. For example, the excavation of the cuneiform library at Nineveh 150 years ago revealed what? The Epic of Gilgamesh, okay, which we find the Epic of Gilgamesh in the Bible. But what came first? The Epic of Gilgamesh, okay, and we're going to go into that, okay. That is similar to, it may have influenced, here it is, the biblical story of Noah and the flood, okay. It reveals religious material, okay, that enables scholars to decipher an entire writing system. For example, the Rosetta Stone. Last point, linguistics and literary theory. The study of linguistics has sometimes involved a search for patterns that underlie all languages. Okay, what is the pattern here? But it's also suggested general patterns and structures that underlie something broader than language. What? Human consciousness. Okay. And here we find from the human consciousness what? The similarities in all these religions. Okay. What is this that we share? Whether we're from different cultures or not, different parts of the world or not, different time periods or not, what is it that we share? Okay, why do we find these similarities? Human consciousness. All right. All right. That's it. Okay, it's more here, but that's it. Well, let me do this last part just real quick. I keep saying that. Maybe I'll save this last part for a shorter video. I'm debating. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna do it now because it's real quick. Now, why should we study the religions of the world? Okay, why? What's this all about, Kenyatta? Why? Insight into religious traditions. Each one is interesting in its own right. For me, I say insight into religious traditions. Let's look at the similarities. We're gonna find more similarities than differences. Okay. Insight into what religions share. There it is. Well, okay. Insight into people. Okay. Understanding a person's religious background tells us about that person's attitudes and values. Okay. Why in some religions, okay, they don't believe in maybe blood transfusion. Okay, that type of thing, something that could be life-saving for them. Okay, that's just an example. All right, we will understand that attitudes and their values, who they are as a person. They are not weird. They are not strange. Okay, and these derogatory titles that we put to someone that is different than ourselves because they come from a different background, a different worldview, a different philosophy, a different culture, a different religion. No. Okay. You believe in yours just as much as they do. You value yours just as much as they do. It is whatever yours is. It has shaped you as a human being just as much as it has shaped them. So why is theirs to be undervalued and yours not? Why is yours the standard? It is not. Okay, nor should it be, and nor should it be viewed that way. Okay. This understanding is valuable for successful human relations in public and private life. Okay. If that's what we say we want. Peace. Okay. 4, tolerance and appreciation of differences. There it is. Okay. Human beings are emotional creatures. Absolutely. It's funny to me when I hear people say getting all caught up in your emotions and all that. Who don't? Doesn't mean it's an intrinsic part of our nature. Okay? Unless we, robots, and I'm sure there's some floating around here with a human suit on, but nevertheless, their religions can sometimes allow inflamed feelings to override common decency. Okay? Religions can be employed to justify immense cruelty. Here it is. Okay? It has been used to justify immense cruelty on individuals, but hell, on nations of people. Okay? That's a Christian nation. Okay, why? Because the great majority of them believed in, Christian values and accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Absolutely not. No, it was forced on them. Okay, forced on nations of people. Okay, by the gun and the sword and so on and so forth. All right. 5, intellectual questioning. Religions make claims about truth. Do they not? Yet some of their views are not easy to reconcile. Like I said, some of their views are absolutely irrational. What? That doesn't make sense. For example, the theory of reincarnation of the soul found in Hinduism, conflict with the teaching of other religions that says a soul has only one lifetime on earth. How can an immortal soul be reconciled with the Buddhist teaching that nothing has a permanent soul or essence? We'll get into that when we go into Buddhism. We must also ask questions about tolerance itself. Okay. Must we be tolerant of intolerance? Okay, even if the religion preaches it. Some say yes. Okay. And you don't want that world peace that you claim. It ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna make everybody all over the world believe like you do. Now you can force it again with the sword and all of that kind of thing, and the one world this and the new world that and all of that kind of thing. All right. Still does not mean that that's what's in the heart and the mind of the people. Okay. Insight into everyday life. Religious influences are found everywhere. Okay. In modern culture, not just within the buildings. Politicians use religious images. Okay. Did we have somebody running for president talking about that was Christian last few runnings, or maybe all of them? Shit, I don't know. Okay, I don't keep up with politics like that. Okay, y'all can bash me if you want. I don't vote. Okay, I don't. I think I did vote a few presidencies ago, but I don't. All right, but we ain't gonna talk about that. All right, we're gonna keep on going. All right. Because personally, I don't feel like it's an election. I feel like it's a selection. And hell, when we studied about that electoral college when I was in high school, shit, I was like, well, it don't sound like to me they pick who gonna ever be up in there, Well, I was senior in high school. All right, but let's just keep on going. Specific religions and religious denominations, they make public positions on moral issues such as abortion. Okay, we look what they didn't have with that, and war. Okay, these are some examples. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's too many. Okay. Another one, appreciation of the arts, enjoyment of travel. Okay, travel and see all of these beautiful religious, artifacts and whatnot throughout the world. Insight, it's just amazing, really. It's just amazing when you travel. Okay, and you see these things. He has some examples. He visited the author here, the Temple of Angkor in Cambodia. Okay, and the Mayan pyramid in Mexico. Visiting it is different than seeing a picture of it. You know what I'm saying? Or like I went to Israel. I went to the city of Jerusalem. Went to the old city behind the Jaffa Gate. And just I think it was Well, I visited the Ethiopian Coptic Church. I think it was one in like 2 different places where they said Jesus was. I don't remember, okay. One of the wells that is mentioned, that wasn't inside the gate. One of the wells that is mentioned in the Bible. Also, supposedly, we went up this mountain, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's supposedly there's a small tree, standing there in the midst of by itself, and they were saying that was a tree that Jesus taught his sermon was it, the Sermon on the Mount, I think, under, things like that. And then, of course, when I was able to go to Egypt recently and go in the pyramids and visit the temples, and it was just beautiful, okay? And then the last thing, helping one's own religious quest. Okay, some people may not be explicitly religious. They may have a sense of the sacred and desire to seek ways to feel at home in the universe. Okay, but for anyone involved in a search, it's helpful to study the variety of religions. Okay, stories of other spiritual quests provides insight that we may draw on for his or her own spiritual journey. Also, some of these things that we say, and being, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual and whatnot, and things like, for example, being present and all of, as opposed to worrying about the past and the future. A lot of these things, that people are calling New Age and whatnot, a lot of these things are coming from these various religions. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, and it's not New Age. You understand? These are things coming from these various religions, of old. All right. Some is an amalgamation of those things. As you can tell, I got drained after I ate. And I just ate a carrot salad. But that's it. Now, the foundation has been laid here, okay, for what is religion? What is it? Okay, yeah, and I'm going to go through all of them. Not every single one of them, but we're going to start with the indigenous religions. We're going to get into Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism. I think that was the last one before I got into Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All right. So it may take a while to do this. Okay, but then after that, okay, we're going to get into some other aspects of this thing called religion. Okay, I have this book. I'm doing a reading with Sunkist Spiritual Consulting. Check out her page. We're doing the Isis Papers, reading it chapter. We were reading a chapter a night, but I don't think we read since last Wednesday or something like that. But we're going to get back to it. And I asked her if she had this book, Blacked Out Through Whitewash by Suzar. Listen, honey, she had it. And this woman lays out how the Bible is an astrological book. Okay, then we're going to get into stuff like that, all right? But right now we're just laying a basic foundation, a basic understanding, so that we have something to build off of, okay? So that we all have an understanding of what's what. All right, y'all be blessed. Peace. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to make a donation to the channel, you can PayPal me /Nikki447 or my Cash App TDHP1. It would be much appreciated. Also, you can find my website at kenyattasintuition.com. The link is in the description below. I offer readings, tarot readings, psychic readings. Okay, I got some pendulums on there that I make. I'll be showing you some other products soon. I meant to bring one with me today, but I left it at home. So I'll be showing you some other products that I make that I'm going to have on the website soon. All right, y'all be blessed. Peace.